Many organizations run on urgency. Something breaks, a customer complains, a deadline slips, and leaders jump in to solve the problem immediately. It feels productive. It feels responsible. But what if constantly reacting to problems simply keeps the system exactly where it already was? Busy, stressed, and unpredictable. Today we explore why putting out fires rarely improves a process, and what leaders must do instead if they want real progress. Every leader faces problems that demand attention. A system fails, a delivery runs late, a customer escalates an issue. Responsible leaders step in and solve it. But W. Edwards Deming warned that solving problems is not the same thing as improving a system. In many organizations, recurring issues are treated as isolated events. Leaders react quickly, restore operations, and move on to the next problem. Yet, when the same kinds of problems appear again and again, something deeper may be happening. Often, the system itself is producing the results we see. Understanding this difference between reacting to problems and improving the system is essential for leaders who want lasting improvement. To see how this plays out, consider a small service company that seemed trapped in constant emergencies. Carlos owned a growing neighborhood HVAC service company. Business was strong. Phones rang constantly. Trucks were on the road from morning until evening. But every afternoon felt chaotic. Technicians called the office needing parts. Customers demanded urgent visits. Jobs ran longer than expected, and the schedule collapsed. Dispatchers scrambled to rearrange appointments while Carlos jumped in to smooth things over. Carlos had become the company's firefighter.
All right, move that install to tomorrow. Send Mike over to Mrs. Jenkins. I'll call the supplier and see if we can rush that part.
The immediate problems got solved. Customers were saved. The day was rescued. But tomorrow looked exactly the same. By midweek, the team was exhausted, and Carlos felt like he spent every day racing from one emergency to another. One evening, he stepped back and asked a different question. What if the fires weren't the problem? What if the system was producing them? Deming made an important distinction about situations like this. Putting out fires is not improvement of the process. This only puts the process back to where it should have been in the first place. Carlos began to notice patterns. Jobs were scheduled too tightly. New technicians handled complicated repairs without enough training. Parts availability was inconsistent. None of these were unusual events. They were part of the system. At the next team meeting, Carlos surprised everyone.
We're not fixing today's schedule. We're studying how our schedule works.
The team mapped a typical service day. They studied travel times. They tracked which jobs commonly ran long and which repairs required parts that were rarely stocked. Slowly, they redesigned the system. Appointments were spaced differently. Training improved for new technicians. Trucks carried the most common repair parts. And something unexpected happened. The emergencies began to disappear. Deming often reminded leaders that the system shapes performance. A bad system will beat a good person every time. Carlos realized something important. His technicians had never been the problem. The system had simply been producing the results it was designed to produce. Once the system changed, the daily firefighting began to fade. Many organizations quietly reward firefighting. The people who solve the biggest crises often appear to be the strongest performers. But Deming encouraged leaders to ask a deeper question before reacting to every problem. Is this a special event? Or is the system producing this outcome routinely? If an issue appears repeatedly, it is rarely an individual failure. More often, It is a signal about how the work is designed and managed. When leaders respond to every fluctuation with urgency, new rules, new instructions, new priorities, they may actually increase instability in the system. Deming called this tampering, reacting to normal variation as if it were an emergency. Instead, thoughtful leadership requires a pause. Before changing procedures or issuing new directives, ask whether the problem is unusual or whether it reflects the way the system normally operates. If it is unusual, address the specific cause and restore stability. But if the same problem keeps appearing, the real responsibility of leadership is to improve the system that produces it. The goal is not faster reaction. The goal is fewer fires to begin with. Every organization experiences problems. That will never disappear. But leaders face a choice in how they respond. They can spend their days racing from crisis to crisis, restoring the system to where it was yesterday. Or they can step back and ask a deeper question. Why does the system keep producing these problems? Deming believed real leadership begins when we stop celebrating firefighting and start improving the system itself. Because the greatest progress in any organization rarely comes from putting out fires. It comes from designing a system where they seldom start at all.